There hasn't been a baseball historian out there that's been able to find a guy who was a general manager and then went to first base coach. That is, until now. Ruben Amaro Jr. joins us now. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, but it is a unique situation. You did talk about your reasons in the offseason as to why you wanted to get back on the field. Has that reason or reasons manifested itself on the field in the first couple of days you've been out here?
You know, right now, Adam, I'm just trying to get acclimated.
Yeah.
You know, it's been fun putting a uniform on. It was kind of strange. You know, right now, I've become so routine-oriented that this is a totally different type of routine. And just trying to work into that and get with the program and get to know not just the staff, but the players as well. And it's been fun so far, you know, being able to don the uniform again.
What are the biggest challenges of making that transition? Because a lot of people, of course, know you as a general manager. I know a lot of national media down here as well talking to you about that.
Right. Yeah, I think it is an odd and strange thing, I guess. And it's, you know, I guess in some people's mind it's kind of a little bit of a novelty, but for me it's baseball. And I was born in a baseball clubhouse, was raised in a baseball clubhouse. My father playing for many years, and then in the front office for many years with the Phillies organization and others. And so, you know, to me it's just baseball, and it's just a different way of being able to impact the club.
You know, you have the strong family ties, and I just learned, and you actually just learned that your grandfather was actually Luis Tion's first manager in Mexico City. That's incredible.
That is pretty neat, and I did not know that. Luis actually told me. Santos Amaro, his nickname was El Canguro, the kangaroo. He actually is a Hall of Famer in Mexico and in Cuba, and he ended up doing having some managerial stints in Mexico. It's kind of neat. To hear that from Luis, and he actually described him exactly to the T. You know, he's a very quiet, gentlemanly man who is very, very tall, about 6'4", 6'5". They used to compare him a little bit to like a Dave Winfield type of an outfielder. Right? Wow. Yeah. So didn't hit a ton of home runs, but had a pretty good line drive stroke. But yeah, he did some managing in Mexico, and it was neat to hear that from Luis.
And one of the other interesting facts, too, is that, you know, of course, 12 seasons of professional baseball for you, 8 in the major leagues, and you were teammates at one time with either John Farrell or Torey Lovullo, and it's just really sort of interesting to be reunited with these guys in this form.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Played with Torey, played against him in college, played with him, played with John in '94, '95 in the Cleveland Indians organization. Had a couple of stints in spring training with Chili Davis, and played with Vic Rodriguez with the Phillies organization. So a lot of ties. I've known Carl Willis for a very long time, and it's just neat to be able to reunite with some of these guys, and you know, since we're all kind of came from the same, you know, we're all kind of in the same age group. It's nice to be able to work with these guys, and they've been great and welcomed me really nicely.
You know, aside from reuniting with these guys, what was the attraction of coming to Boston specifically? I know there's a story that Dave Dombrowski actually read in the Boston Globe that you had interest in getting back into coaching. Right. What was the biggest attraction?
Well, there's no question. When you're talking about you know, franchises, and you're talking about not just baseball franchises, but sports franchises. So Boston Red Sox, clearly one of the biggest and most revered. And I've always, from afar, always liked the way they go on about their business, and been very impressed about how they go about their business. You know, it was geographically, it was very desirable for me. I'm from the East Coast, living in Philadelphia, and for me and my family, if I was going to make this jump, which is going to be a pretty critical one, you know, I want to be as close to home as possible. So there's a lot of things that lined up, but you know, I knew a lot about the talent. You know, when we obviously had a lot of discussions with Ben Cherington over the last several years about the talent level that's here in Boston, and the young players. What an exciting group to be able to be a part of. I mean, just outstanding athletes with Xander and Mookie and Swy. Some of the pitchers as well, Eddie and Henry. They really great young players, and it's neat to be a part of that. And I'm going to enjoy, you know, watching these guys grow up.
Yeah, and you've been working with the outfielders as well, and you mentioned those young guys. Let's talk about the outfield, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts and Rusney Castillo. I mean, you were an outfielder. I mean, what do you like about what they have to offer?
So athletic, they're outstanding. But I think even more importantly, they take pride in their craft, and that's something for young players to have that kind of attitude. All of them, and I've been more impressed not just by their athleticism, but also in their desire to be really, really good. And I just don't want to screw it up. You know, I'm here not to mess them up. They're very, very good athletes, but they're really better kids. They're really, I say kids, young men. It's going to be a joy to work with them. What's
the end goal for you now that you're back on the field coaching? Is it to be a manager someday?
Well, I think long-term, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone asked me that earlier today about what my long-term goals are. I like to stay in the game, and whether it's in the front office or whether it's on the field. Right now, I'm more focused, Adam, on doing the best job I possibly can to help, you know, the Boston Red Sox reach our goals, which is to be a champion again. So, I mean, that's the immediate goal. I guess long-term, if there's an opportunity to manage at some point. Certainly, I mean, anybody who works on the field would welcome that opportunity. But you know, I'm keeping all my options open. Right now, I'm just focused on trying to get the right drills together for these guys to get them ready for the season.
Well, I know Steve Lyons was giving you a little bit of a hard time in Fungo, so
that's right,
you know, you can continue to work on that. Ruben Amaro Jr., we appreciate you joining us. Speaking of Steve Lyons, we'll have more from him coming up on Red Sox from Fort Myers, presented by Jordan's.